fractions. Reduce fractions. So fractions are part of a whole. And we use fractions in everyday language of saying that there's half a pizza left, or maybe we can say there's a quarter of a pizza left. When we say a quarter, right, we're saying only 1/4 of the pizza is left, which we can represent as 1/4, right? This signifies 1/4. Now, in math terms, we would use the top number, and we call that the numerator. And then the bottom number is denominator. Now, sometimes we also we can say there's a pizza, and maybe it's cut into 8s. So instead of saying a quarter, we might say two of the slices is remaining, which is 2 out of 8. Now these mean the exact same thing, 1/4 or 2/8, because it's the same amount that is left of the pizza. But the 1/4 is represented in its lowest terms, in its reduced fraction. So when we are dealing with math, they always want it in its lowest terms. So if you had 2/8 as an answer, you would want to reduce it to 1/4. And there's different methods we can do this. So let's look at some examples to show. So by looking at this first example, let's use the first method, which is finding the GCF, which is also known as the greatest common factor. So let's look at example 1. In the Moses Lake pound, there are currently 15 male dogs out of the 20 total dogs. This can be expressed as a fraction as the number of male dogs out of the total dogs, which is 15/20. Reduce fraction to lowest terms. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write out our fraction. Then we're going to go like this because we're going to have to find all the factors of both 15 and 20 and then find the greatest common factor between them two. Now, from previous videos, we learned that to find factors, we know that 1 in itself is always going to be a factor. So 1 times 15 is equal to 15. Then we look for other factors. So we look at 15 and we notice that it's a 15, so it's not even, so 2 is not a common factor. Then we can look at the next one, which could be 3. So 3 times 5 is equal to 15. So we know 3 and 5 are factors of 15. Now, 4 doesn't work, 7 doesn't work. So these are the factors of 15. Now we need to look at 20. What are the factors of 20? Well, we know 1 and 20 are factors because 1 in itself is always factors. We also notice that 20 is even. So we can do 2. So 20 divided by 2 is equal to 10. So those are factors of 20. We notice that 20 can be divided by 3, because if we add up the digits, 2 plus 0, it's 2, which is not divisible by 3. So 3 is not 1. Then we can look at the next number, which could be, as we see, it's a 0. So it ends in a 0, so 5 could be a factor. So 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4. So we would say 4 and 5 are also factors of 20. And that would be it, because we know 6 or 7 doesn't work, and so these are the factors of 20. Now we look for the greatest common factor between the two. And so we notice 5 is the greatest factor between the two. So what we do now is we're going to take our fraction and we're going to divide out the greatest common factor, which is 5. So we have 15 and 20. And we're going to divide both the top and the bottom by 5. So when we do that, 15 divided by 5, that's equal to 3. 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4. So 3/4 is our reduced fraction. So let's look at another example now. Example 2. If 6 out of the 24 students in the class live at least 30 minutes or more away from campus, represent this as a reduced fraction. Well, we would say the part out of the whole, so it's 6 out of 24. Now, 6 out of 24 can be reduced, and we're going to use the greatest common factor to reduce this one. So let's go ahead and find the factors of 6. So we know 1 and 6 are always going to be factors because 1 in itself is always a factor. Now we need to find other ones. Well, we notice 6 is divisible by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we have 2 and 3. And we know 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, so we're done with the 6. Now we look at 24 for the factors. So 1 and 24 are factors of 24. 24 can be divided by 2, which is 12. So 2 and 12 are factors of 24. 24 divided by 3 is 8. Then we can look at the next number. So we can look at 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And we know 7 doesn't work. And then we're back to the other numbers, which we know are 8, 12, and 24. So now we're done finding the factors of 24. So now the next thing is to find the greatest common factor. We know that 6 is here and it's also here because any number greater than 6 is not a factor of 6. So we know we can divide the top and the bottom by 6. So we have 6 over 24, and let's divide both the top and bottom by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So instead of saying 6 over 24, we could just say 1/4, and it means the same thing, but this is its reduced fraction.